everyone. My name is Dr. Koyal Verma and I'm here once again to talk to you about community engagement and social responsibility. Welcome back to the journey into systems thinking and social responsibility. In the previous session, we talked about systems thinking. Now let's talk about its applications and build on it. So, everywhere around us are complex challenges like poverty, waste management, mental health and inequality. They seem separate, but they are not. They are interconnected, parts of living systems. So, in this module, you see these invisible connections so that you can design community projects that can go beyond quick fixes to create lasting change. The most important problems of our time are the result of the way we think. So, what is systems thinking? Systems thinking is an approach where we see wholes, not fragments. Instead of asking, what caused this problem, we ask, what is the system that produces this pattern of problems? Some of the key scholars and concepts are, for instance, J. Forrester, who is considered to be the father of systems thinking and systems dynamics, who demonstrated that structure drives behavior. For example, if a university system rewards only exam results, it will discourage creativity. Instead of only thinking about systems in this regard, we also have Donella Meadows, who gave us the idea of leverage points, small, well-placed actions that create big change. Now let's understand this framework through a metaphor. Imagine a tree. If the leaves are unhealthy, where should we intervene? On the leaves or on the roots? Community issues are just like that tree. If we only treat the symptoms, the problem will grow back. In real life, communities are complex adaptive systems. So how can we understand this complex system? For example, malnutrition in urban low-income communities. The issue at hand is high rates of child malnutrition and stunted growth. Let's draw a systems map. Low-income family, irregular employment and food insecurity, limited access to affordable fresh produce, inadequate mental health awareness, overdependence on cheap packaged foods, gaps in local public health services, poor school attendance and reduced learning outcomes. What could be some of the leverage points? Those could be creating community nutrition centers that partner with local women's self-help groups to provide low-cost nutrition meals. Parallel efforts could be education sessions on nutrition for mothers and caregivers and linking households with public food distribution schemes, which we call PDS. Now, let's talk about why this above mapping indicates systems thinking. Instead of blaming parents for poor feeding practices, this approach recognizes that malnutrition is the result of interconnected social, economic and institutional factors. By intervening at multiple leverage points, such as access to food, awareness and public systems, you can shift the entire pattern. Let's think about another example, rural school dropouts. Instead of blaming students, look at poverty, gender norms, school infrastructure, transport, parental expectations. Intervening at that level of community behavior and attitudes plus financial support systems can change the entire loop. If you remember, we talked about Arun Myra in one of our previous sessions, where he had said that solving problems is not about control, but about building relationships and dialogue. In fact, Donella Meadows shows that in a complex system, Cause and effect are not closely related in time and space. This means the real cause of a problem might be hidden far from where it shows up. Systems thinking explains the how, and social responsibility gives us the why. Definition of social responsibility is the moral obligation to act for the benefit of society at large. The key dimensions are: number 1, positionality and privilege. Recognition of our own social location like gender, class, education impacts how we see communities and how communities see us. Number 2, ethical engagement. Obtain informed consent, avoid exploitation, give back knowledge. Number 3, strengthening rather than replacing. Support local systems instead of imposing external ideas. Lisa Garout in 2018 advocates for an asset-based approach starting from what communities already have. John Cassels in 1980 stressed on the reciprocity angle. If communities give you their time and trust, they should benefit from your work. For example, while working with campus gardeners or mess workers in Bennett, do not focus merely on what they lack. Start with their skills, experience and contribution to campus ecosystems. They co-create solutions like better tools of safety, giving them gear that can enhance what they already do well. And to design community projects, here's a step-by-step approach you will use. Identify a community group, for example, campus workers, hostel staff, local NGOs. Number 2, map the system. For instance, map who are the stakeholders like people, institutions. Look at the flow of resources like money, time and knowledge, and also look at constraints and opportunities. Number 3, identify feedback loops. What reinforces the problem? Number 4, find leverage points for change. For example, small actions with big ripple effects. Design participatory strategies like involve the community from the start. Also, good intentions aren't enough. We must act ethically and reflectively. John Cassels' ethical principles were in 1980, for instance, he highlighted informed consent, honesty, no harm and reciprocity. V.K. Jairath and Meenakshi Thapan in 1988 remind us that our subjectivity matters in fieldwork. We must constantly reflect on how our biases shape what we see. Marion Carter et al. In 2002 offered 5 key questions to guide project design. For instance, number 1, what are your goals? Number 2, who benefits? Number 3, who participates and how? Number 4, what power dynamics are present? Number 5, what will you evaluate success? And how will you evaluate success? Now think about the following points. What privileges do I carry? What values will guide my project? How will I ensure communities benefit from my work? Your small campus or village project may seem local, but it's connected to a global system. For example, we often talk about water scarcity. A broken hostel tap, wasted water pressure on municipal supply, higher tank costs that would affect local farmers in gaining access to water. Example 2, gender equity. Hiring more women as canteen staff increases household income, which improves children's nutrition, boosts educational levels. This is the power of systems thinking. It connects your local actions to global ripples. In conclusion, becoming systemic change makers, we can actually look at the following points to recap, such as systems thinking trains us to see hidden structures, not just surface problems. Social responsibility grounds our work in ethics, empathy, and respect. Together, they help us become reflective, ethical, and impactful change makers. You cannot change a system unless you see it as a whole, says Donella Meadows. As you begin your projects, remember you are entering a living system. Tread with curiosity, humility, and hope. On that note, I would like to leave you all on thinking about how you can make systems thinking its application in Bennett University and think about projects that can actually include systems thinking approach. On this note, thank you very much for listening in, and I shall be back next week. All the best and see you guys next week.